Welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting the prelim fights for UFC 241, Cormier versus Miocic 2. So without further ado, let's get to our first fight on the prelims and our first fight on the card. So in our first fight, we have in the women's flyweight division, Sabina Mazo versus Shayna Dobson. So looking at Shayna Dobson, only has a very few fights, which is like 6-2, 6-3, 4, and something like that. A very, under 10 fights. But she will be the veteran in this fight. I think Mazo actually has more fights than her. But looking at Dobson, all that aside, to get kind of to the point, I think Dobson has the power, but that's really about all she has. She's about, 30, 29, 30, 31, something like that. And Mazo is under 25. I see Mazo having the higher ceiling. I see Mazo having the potential. I like her frame better in this fight. And I don't think Dobson really has consistent power. She might have power here and there, but is it consistent? And having that big of a hole in your grappling, even though she might have some decent grappling here and there, is that affect like what you better use it offensively against Mazo? I don't really think so. I think the more so be a striking matchup as far as what Dobson could bring. Matter of fact, I think Mazo might actually have better submission ability than Dobson, low key. But I see the fight more so playing out on the feet. And I like the range of Mazo. I like the youth of her. I like her mindset. Yes, she came up short in her UFC fight, but we even look at her fights outside of UFC. She's never trying to fight these people that's like 0-1, 0-2. Or 12-12 and stuff. She's not fighting these cans. She was trying to fight the best competition she could fight, and she wasn't trying to just pad her record before she got in the UFC. She was trying to fight like see who's the best she can get, then get her way into the UFC, and that's what she did. She was undefeated to come into the UFC for some solid competition. Came to the UFC, then didn't try to take somebody that's on a losing streak or try to take somebody that was an easy stylistic matchup. She tried to fight somebody that had a similar style and build to her, and she came up short, but that shows you where her mindset is. And I think against Dobson, just only relying on power, that's not going to be enough. I think Mazo's striking, her reach, her control of range is going to be more favorable in this matchup. Be to pick apart Dobson from the outside and really not allow Dobson to fully commit to her punches to get that power that would really change the course of this fighting. More so Mazo's going to keep her at the end of her range, use that height, use that reach, and use her skills and outpoint Dobson. So in this fight, I got Sabina Mazo via decision. So now on to our next fight we have in the bantamweight division, Kang versus Brandon Davis. So let's get to the point on Brandon Davis. Up and down career in the UFC. I think he managed to get back 500 at 3-3, I believe so. And even if he's not at 500, it's still the same fact. If he's above 500, below 500, it's still kind of the same stuff I see about this guy. Solid fighter. I'm not saying he's a can or nothing like that, but certainly he needs to find some areas and find his avenue. I don't think he's struggling in the UFC. Matter of fact, what's going on? Not matter of fact. Off topic, but now back to Brandon Davis again. So, he looking at his record, he has issue with grapplers, whether it be wrestlers, sambo, or people that's going to physically put that wrestling or grappling pace on him. He has issue with those type of fighters. Giving up 10 plus takedowns to Enrique Barzola and about 5 to Zabit, and really hasn't shown really much amazing takedown defense. And in his fight that he just won, he dropped down to 135. You could say, oh, he's turned over a new leaf or he's found his division, but he fought a guy who was very green. Had only a handful of fights, and most of them ended. Matter of fact, all of them ended in the first round, and about 90% of them ended in under a minute or less. So he didn't really have the most experienced guy he beat, and all he did was take him out of the first round and submit him. He took a guy who never really even been in the full first round and took him out of that round and then submitted him. So nothing too impressive. Now you're going against Kang, who's a solid fighter, 6-year veteran in the UFC, has fought a well-rounded list of opponents and a lot with high-level opponents at that, and has got wins over high-level opponents. Whereas Brandon Davis, he hasn't yet to even put on a good performance against a high-level opponent. Every time he fights a high-level opponent, he gets outclassed. So then, even though he's dropping down a weight class, I don't think it's going to be such a big difference about his size. And Kang is a big bantamweight as well. So even though he's dropping down from 145 and he's going to be a big 135er, Kang is a big 135 as well. I think Kang is the more talented fighter on the feet. Feet, I kind of give it even, but on the grappling wise, I think Kang's much talented grappler, and I think he puts it together much better than Brandon Davis. And like I said, he has experience not only fighting top level competition, but also experience beating top level competition. I think Brandon Davis hasn't really got to that point yet. I think the speed's going to be on Kang's side, the technicality's going to be on Kang's side. I think at this point, Kang is just a much better fighter. I think he's able to at least gain his respect on the feet, and on the grappling, I think he controls that largely in the grappling proportion. I think the first 2 rounds kind of close, but Kang edging him, and then the third round, Kang breaks down Davis on the ground and submits him. So in this fight, I got Kang via decision. Now to our next fight we have in the women's strawweight division, Hannah Cifers versus Jodie Esquibel. So look at this. Matter of fact, let's get straight to the point of this whole matchup right here. Jodie Esquibel is a good fighter and all, but she just doesn't seem UFC caliber. Can't really find her mark in UFC, or can't really find, her avenue, or what she's so good at, or what she excels at that she can give her a competitive advantage against opponents. Like, more so, she's just a fighter that is well-rounded, and that's about it. Nothing spectacular, nothing stand out about her. In this fighting, Hannah Cifers, I'm not saying Hannah Cifers is all that impressive. I just think Hannah Cifers at least has some edge, some technicality. I think she just kind of a well-rounded fighter as well, but I think she just has a little bit more than her. I think Jodie Esquibel just not really UFC caliber at this point. Maybe needs to step out and work something, but at this point, I think she's just not really up to this caliber. So I just think at this point, to get to the point, both well-rounded fighters for the most part, but Hannah Cifers is just better. And that's just really all I can say in this matter. So in this fight, I got Hannah Cifers via decision. Now on to our next fight we have in the lightweight division, Klose versus Christos Giagos. So Giagos is finally finding his streak in the UFC, finally finding his groove on a 2-fight winning streak after ups and downs in the UFC, a lot more downs than ups. Finally mixing his grappling well. And we look at his record, he's only lost to better grapplers. But to kind of get to the point of this fighting, Klose, I favorite Klose in this match. I think Klose, looking at the gym he comes from and the type of style he has, he's very good at defending takedowns, very good at getting back from takedowns, very good at scrambling, very solid fighter. I think Giagos' striking is an improvement, but I think Klose is just a much better fighter. How he controls distance very subtly. People might sleep on his striking, like, oh, he's not that good. He don't have no power, don't have that. But he does a very good job at shutting people down. They could be explosive, amazing strikers, and he does a good job at shutting them down just based off range and footwork, being in the right position at the right time, not really allowing him to land those strikes. And I think Giagos' striking really isn't at that level yet. So I think Klose can really cause a lot of Giagos shots to fall short. And also with that range control and good foot movement and being in the right place at the right time, really disrupts people's shots. That's why he's so good at defending take. That's why he's so good at getting back up, because he never really allowed them to be in position to fully commit to these shots or really get the most of their shots, because they're not in the right position. So they got to work for those shots. And then by the time they work for them, he's already on defense, already getting back up. And I feel like the Klose style kind of neutralized Giagos, whose style, I think, in this fight, he's going to need to be all offensive with his takedowns and be able to get somebody down. Matter of fact, with his style, he's going to need to be up underneath somebody, getting them down, making them respect the takedowns. I don't think he's going to be able to get Klose's full respect on his takedowns, and that's going to allow Klose to pick him apart on the feet, defend his takedowns, and neutralize his whole style. And I think Klose, he's not really a power puncher, so he's not going to knock Giagos out, but he's going to really, I think it's going to be a fight where he kind of neutralizes Giagos' strengths, keeps him on feet, makes it an awkward fight for Giagos, and just outpoints him to a pretty clear-cut decision. So in this fight, I got Klose via decision. Now on to our next fight we have in the bantamweight division, Manny Bermudez versus Casey Kenney. So you got two solid fighters here. Casey Kenney more of a scrambly wrestler type of grappler. Manny Bermudez is more of a BJJ type of grappler. Both talented, but I think Bermudez, ceiling his potential was just through the roof. And you see his striking already improving crazily too. I think he's the much better striker between the two. He's in the ground. I don't think Casey Kenney even wants to roll with him. I think if it goes to the ground, Bermudez is going to quickly snap on some type of submission. I think on the feet, it's only a matter of time for Bermudez starts to connect and start to put that damage on him. But either way in this fight, I think whether Casey Kenney tries to make it a grappling match or whether Bermudez has to really be the initiator in this fight, I think eventually Bermudez forces Kenney to make a choice whether he's going to go to the ground or just get the damage done onto him on the feet. And I think once it goes to the ground, I think shortly after Bermudez snaps up a submission and submits him, and I think that happens in the second round. So in this fight, I had Manny Bermudez via second round submission. Now to our co-prelim headliner we have in the bantamweight division, Rafael Assuncao versus Corey Sandhagen. So you got a very nice fight right here. You got maybe a change under the guard. Rafael Assuncao was one of the dudes in this division for a good minute. Never got his title shot, but a solid fighter, very good at controlling distance, very solid grappler, and very scary everywhere. But looking at Corey Sandhagen, he's the new breed, he's the new blood. Well, he's standing like almost 6 feet or 5'11" at a division where most people are probably around 5'6", 5'7". So he has a huge height advantage, huge reach advantage, and he knows how to use it. And he's able to use the full arts, good wrestling, good scrambles, good submission ability, good striking. And like I said, with the height, he knows how to use it. He has a very solid jab, very consistent, very present. Can switch stance, can mix all the arts together very well. And I think going against Assuncao, who's about 5'5", 5'6", he's going to have huge height advantage, and he's going to use that. Yes, Assuncao is very good at controlling distance and jumping in and jumping out and playing with the range, but I guess a guy that with that size and who's not just trying to throw big power shots and actually using a jab, I think Assuncao is going to be really far out, and his style is going to be kind of neutralized just based off that range and based off that consistent jab, that an effective jab at that. I really think Assuncao is really going to be able to load up like he wants to if he wants to do jumping shots. I think he's really going to need to load up to really gain respect of a guy that tall. Yes, Sandhagen does make some mistakes here and there, like going straight back, and I think that's where Assuncao can have his opportunities. But as far as grappling wise, I think Sandhagen is good enough in the scramble, and with that reach and that jab, Assuncao's shot's not going to be as effective. It's going to be shooting from so far out, and then once he gets in, even if he does get in, Sandhagen is so scrambly that he'll be able to defend those takedowns, defend those grappling exchanges. You know, on the feet, like I said, the distance wise, except for the few times Sandhagen's backing up straight up, it's going to be real hard for a 5'5", 5'6" Assuncao to get behind that reach, get into where he needs to. And then when he does get in, he's going to need to land some big shots, and it's going to be difficult. It's going to be few and far between. I'm sure he's going to make it an interesting fight, trying to mix in leg kicks here and there. But I think the biggest tell of this fight is going to be how Sandhagen controls that reach and his scrambling ability. I think it'll still be a competitive fight. Assuncao's not going to make it easy. But I think that range, like I said, that consistent jab is going to be too much, and that scrambling ability when needed is going to carry Sandhagen to a decision. So in this fight, I got Corey Sandhagen via decision. Now to our prelim headliner we have in the lightweight division, Kama Worthy versus Devontae Smith. And to get straight to the point on this whole matchup, Kama Worthy is like the third person brought in to fight Devontae Smith. Looking at his record, he got knocked out by a guy like 2 years ago who is not even a power puncher or a striker. And he hasn't beat anybody since. I think he just brought in from a regional circuit on last minute just to give Devontae Smith an opponent and to keep him on the card and keep the card, I get it, as they're certain 12 or 13 fights. And Devontae Smith is just way above him, this league's above him, and I think Devontae Smith just knocked him out in the first round. So in this fight, I got Devontae Smith via first round TKO. And that concludes my fight predictions for the prelims of UFC 241, Cormier versus Miocic 2. And as always, thanks for watching.